Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hey, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We're just getting started here. It's Wednesday afternoon where I'm at, about 5:30 p.m. or so. Beautiful Santa Cruz, California. It's so nice. Right around 60 degrees or something. The sun's been out. It's been a nice day. So yeah, it's a sure sign that we're halfway through the week. And Let's take a little bit of time to catch up with my friends in the shower door biz, see what's going on, see what we might talk about. We've been hanging out here chatting for a few minutes before starting up, and it's always good to catch up. Anyway, if you are watching this sometime in the future on YouTube or something like that, go ahead and subscribe to that and leave a comment if you have a chance. Give us a little like and leave a comment. Let us know what you think, or if you've got a topic idea for something you'd like us to talk about that you haven't heard us talk about before. We're interested in that kind of stuff. Today, our topic is all about customer service. And how do you create a positive customer experience? How do you go about handling customer complaints? What do you do to keep customers once you get them? Create that brand loyalty that we value so much. So these are some of the things we're going to talk about this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are. And I'm glad we got Rob here, man. This really is like right in Rob's wheelhouse. I don't know. I know you guys all know Rob Gomez. He's been on the calls. I mean, like almost every time for years. He's kind of like my silent sidekick over there, man. And a lot of people don't really know what this guy does, but he is actually kind of a guru of IT and all things customer um, customer relations, CRM, if you know what that is, and all that stuff. And I know that I've used a lot of his service and advice and software and stuff like that to build customer loyalty and all the stuff that I'm just talking about right now. Because, for me, a big challenge that I've had with customers, especially, Steve and I were just kind of chatting about what it's like being kind of a one guy thing, just when you're running a business and it's like you and a helper or even just, a couple of guys. It's tricky because you got to wear a lot of hats and it's easy for things to fall through the cracks. In my experience, a lot of times that was customers. Um, and I kind of dialed in my business to where I had kind of a system that worked really well for me. I mean, someone would call in, say, "Hey, I need a shower door," and I'd be like, "Yeah, you called the right place. I'm the guy who can get you a shower door." And they'd be like, "Well, how much does it cost?" And I'd say, "Well, it depends. What do you got?" And then, just do a quick back and forth, get them kind of a ballpark price. And that sounds pretty good. When can you come measure? Go measure. Yeah, it's going to be, this is it exactly, all right, well, how soon can you do it? Well, give me some money. They give me some money, get it going and like get it done. And that was kind of my typical routine. It was like, hey, I need a shower door. I can do a shower door. It's this much. That sounds good. Let's do it. Get it. Boom, done. Finish it. Collect the balance. Great. Whenever whenever the situation varied from that, it would be really easy for that person to just kind of fall through the cracks because it was kind of atypical of how I was expecting my customers to act. Sometimes they'd stall along the way. And then rather than let that become a log jam, and hold everything up. I just kind of go on to the next customer, right? It's just the natural thing to do. But a lot of times those customers will buy and they want to buy. They're just not my typical customer. And I don't, and it was easy for me to forget about them and lose them. And sometimes they'd even call me back in a month and be all mad at me. Oh man, whatever happened, I was like started this thing with you and you just totally forgot about me. You ghosted me. And I feel terrible because that was not my intention. Of course, I don't want to lose a customer, but I mean, if you don't have a whole team of people taking care of following up with customers, super easy to let them fall through the cracks. So for me, in my experience, that's where having some kind of a software, um, a CRM, customer relations management tool, really comes in handy. And there's a lot of different things. Sometimes it takes a combination of things to really be effective in doing that. So anyway, Rob's a guy who's helped me with that a lot in the past, so I know he's going to have some insights. But I'm just curious if there's anybody else here, who can relate or has some insights to what has worked for you in these ways, just taking care of customers and making sure that they get taken care of.
Yeah, that's kind of my number one thing is I was in the glass company first. Like that was what makes my, I think, take on it and perspective a little different than a lot of other people that might try to come in with marketing advice or AI advice or this or that advice. It's like I know the good old boy, blue collar guy that's third generation that tells his employees exactly what he thinks of them, and that's the way it was, and how the culture shifted, and they had to like develop a different style of communication. And as the next generations came up, they wanted to implement software and do all this stuff. Because as a kid, when I was 18, 19, 20, on the trucks with my best friend, it was awesome. We were doing all the windows, all the glass, all the mirrors, all the walls, and custom jobs, and it was real cool. On the helper side, understanding the context. When I came back 15 years later, and they were doing everything the exact same way, I was like, huh, the gas industry really is behind 10, 15 years everyone else. They are still using the same old paper method. Chris still has measurements on the back of a napkin that is in his pocket that he forgot at home. The owner still is keeping all communication between him and certain customers between their inbox. And if he's not in right now, the office can't answer that person for whatever their update on the job is. So no universal source of truth for each customer that came through. Sometimes that was a binder, sometimes that was someone's Google Doc, sometimes that was a person's computer. But what I noticed is like the thing that needed to happen, no matter what company I worked with, was a universal source of truth for each customer. What's going on with them? What's been talked about? What do we have on file? What's expected next? And it doesn't matter what CRM you use. You can use Follow Up Glassmine. You can go directly to Trello, which is a free board, or ClickUp, or Asana, or Google has internal things you can download free on the Gmail. You can come up with Google Docs itself and just make tabs. Like there's a lot of ways you can track pipelines for your customers and make all communication go to one spot. I figured out backwards how to do it on fire. And every unique solution I bring to glass companies today is from me being in the shop, me answering the call, and saying the same thing 20 times. And so we should have a template for this. And I should train everyone else how to send this template easily. I've answered the warranty question too many times. I've answered this question too many times. How do we get the 18-year-old that comes in that doesn't know glass? How do we develop a system for them to understand what they need to say to what customer when they ask certain questions? And that's just comes from like SOP documentation, all this stuff. When I realized all of our leads were getting lost, it's like we need a way to pick them up. When someone said we spent $10,000 on ads this month, how did the ad campaign do? I don't know. We're busier. I think they're working. Give them a 10,000 more. Like, do you know though? Do you know if the season just kind of had an increase and like people that two guys just referred you in a neighborhood you did a great job at, and that's why you got business? Do you know the ROI of the money you're spending? And are you giving credit to people that are really referring you? Like figuring out the sources of truth needed to expand beyond what's going on with the customer. Where did they come from? How does your system automatically do that? It's that journey over many, many years that made us implement some one-off solutions. A complaint, a problem solve, a new process. And now we have 1,000 processes that we just help people with depending where they're at in their growth stage. And it's been super fun, but y'all definitely need to have a universal source of truth for each customer. And the way you technology is at a day and age where you can give everyone the Amazon 5-star experience, the Apple experience. You want to, there's no benefit of you racing to the bottom for your pricing and trying to beat someone else on any of this. There's none at all. You want to be Apple. You want to be the fancy salon owner. You want to be Sean Farrow, for example. I see he's on that call to AGI. He does badass custom stuff. Okay. And people know when they go to him, they're not going to pay super cuts prices. If they want a $10 haircut, the chair's open right now. They can walk in and get it. But if they want a custom $100 haircut, they're going to have to get in line, and the waiting list is 2 months. Like, that's what quality is. People get in line, and Apple has so much quality, people prepay. And that's where I know Billy Britt and Tilson they had awesome people who were able to pay deposits on a quote that was virtual, because the brand and the reputation was that strong that people were willing to prepay because they already know they're getting a quality product. They just need you to show up. It's like that's what crafting a really good customer experience does for you. And I haven't seen anyone do it with paper, no matter how cool it is and how old school it is. It's like you need digital systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because there's just so many steps along the way. I mean, there's so many moving parts, especially in this industry. It's not like just a simple product, that you're buying and warehousing and then selling to somebody. It's we don't even get all of our parts from the same place. You generally speaking, almost never. I mean, we're almost always getting components from different suppliers and putting it together. We're building custom products to order, and there's just too many moving parts to make that happen smoothly every time without some sort of a system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and speaking of Sean, I don't know if I've ever actually seen Sean on this call before. I mean, I see his stuff in the group all the time. I mean, he posts some of the coolest stuff, so I don't know if are you there, Sean? Hello?
I am. How you all doing this evening?
Good. How are you doing? Have you ever actually joined this call and said anything?
No, I've stalked you guys for a little bit to get some, pointers and see what y'all are up to and seeing what my fellow colleagues are up to. Because, indirectly, we're all in this together, one way or another, one facet or another. And
Absolutely.
thank you for the wonderful compliments, Robert. I appreciate that. And you're right. We've created a dynamic in this company, or I created it actually, where and I'm blessed. I mean, cocky, humble. I mean, it's kind of in the same thing because we've got years of experience with the clientele that we've acquired over the years, past 20, 30 years. And it is kind of a unique little niche that I put myself in, or that I found myself in, where it's not like, oh, when are you going to be here? It's like, thanks for coming, thanks for taking my call. But we also kind of subliminally put it in where instead of, I mean, we're all eager for work, all of us. We need it, we need to keep the lights on one way or another, or feed our whatever our appetites. But we've developed a couple ways to, I don't know if you want to call it manipulate, but we always finish the emails or finish the conversations with, thank you for allowing us to help you. You know what I mean? Like a lot, because ultimately they do need our help, and, as long as you do quality work, I mean, let's not forget, it's how we approach any life, how we approach anything. But when we go in there and we know we need the work, or we know, wow, we need, our lights or whatever's due, and we go in there and they can see that people, there's a lot of energy in the world, and everything's based on energy, in my opinion. And, but we've created, again, a dynamic where they feel that, especially with our branding and our marketing and our exposure all over all the platforms, they're like, a contractor, oh, well, thanks for coming here today. I can't believe I got the superstar. Listen, I'm just a glass hole, man. I'm a hillbilly. I'm just, doing my shit. But yeah, you have to have, certain things, scheduling, or you have to, and the one thing though, I found, which I've been talking to clients, I would say for the past 2, 3 years, which we do realize, the glass and the mirrors and all the hardware and all that, we're all given the sandwich, the bread, the bologna, the cheese, whatever. It's how you make it. And I found one thing that is, I always joke around. I always say, you're not paying for none of the glass or anything. You're paying for the outcome. That's really what you're paying for. We don't want to be acceptable. We want to be exceptional, and they love that, man. And they get it. And we captivate them, because I'm a real colorful person. And I wear slides. I mean, I'm in South Florida, but I wear slides, t-shirt and shorts to every job. And that's a luxury. Of
Nice.
course, I get badgered like on Glazer Nation and all over, like, oh, you guys need to wear long pants and hard hats and all that shit. I don't know, but yeah, it's a fun time, the glass, and now with all the new applications, we have to stay on it. But where I was going with it is, the glass and hardware, that's one thing, but what supersedes a lot of time our installations is during the process, the communication, during the emails and making, following through the phone calls, not ghosting the customers. Let's say the shit goes wrong. I mean, we just have to be accountable and be, affirmative and just say, hey, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I hate blaming it on my distributors and my manufacturers, even though we manufacture a lot of our own stuff. But because ultimately the contractors don't want to hear, I mean, the customers don't want to hear, oh, the hardware didn't come in, or it's back ordered, or the glass was screwed up 5 times, because ultimately that they don't want to hear the labor. They just want to see the baby, and with that said, it's ultimately up to us. If CRL isn't getting on point, or the constant back order, which thank God they're starting not to be anymore, but the client, the customer, the developers, the builders, they don't want to hear that we're screwing up, that the glass is screwed up. They just want to see it. And it's ultimately who we choose to do business with as the professionals, They don't want to hear none of that. So yeah, we've developed where we become very close with our clients. I mean, it's crazy. I'm always asked to go out here and there with them on their yachts and on their shit. And I don't even got time for none of that, but it's building a rapport with your clients and making them feel comfortable. If you do that, you can pretty much, name your price and, so wiggle in this and, convince them of that. But, I appreciate you guys. And just because I'm lurking in the background doesn't mean I haven't picked up a lot of good fundamentals from you, Chris. And I need to get some of those damn mushrooms from you one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happening. It's real soon. Real soon.
Talk, man. And hook you
Yeah.
up.
So
Just
yeah, with that said, man, it's a fun time out here, no matter where we're at in the country. And business is fun, and you got to get into it where you have to just say, I don't have to go measure, or I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. And our mindsets are like that, where we're just enjoying this shit,
yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's a fun trade. You guys all know that. And then if you can incorporate, our craftsmanship with the technical part, like Robert's talking about, just at least have some sort of happy medium with that, you get the days of 3-page, transfer proposals are long gone. Or writing your estimate on the back of a Wendy's bag. Those days are. Although I have to tell you, it's so funny. A couple of my clients that we have had, I just like, they'll hand me thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, in cash, because they want like a little 10% discount or whatever.
Right.
And it's so funny that I would say in the past maybe couple of years, I laugh when I go through my little notebook, my little sketchbook, and I'll literally like write the job, like let's say the job's like 30 grand or something. I'll be like 30K job, glass, 10,000 or $15,000 deposit in just chicken scratch with my signature. Take a picture of that, give that to the client, or text it to the client, and that's my proposal. Sometimes
Right.
very primitive, but it's still legal. It's just
Yeah.
funny. It's just funny.
Yeah, and that's kind of the flip side to like this kind of generation we're in now, to where it's like people are way more open to being flexible.
Yeah.
There has been a change kind of in a positive direction, in my opinion, because I mean, I love to do business that way too. I mean, like no matter, you can have 100-page contract, if the person you're dealing with is not honest, they're gonna figure out a way to screw you, man, no matter
And
what.
plus with the internet, do we really want the bad reviews? Everybody's looking at company reviews and company images before they make their decisions. So not necessarily everybody, but a lot of people. Like right now, I got all my new clients, which I really don't even want to take on like any new clients for the next 2 or 3 years. But the new ones say, "Oh my God, your reviews! Oh my God, I can't believe it." And I joke around, I go, "Yeah, I know we got all 5-star reviews, kind of, which is hard." And then I throw a little kick in there. I go, "Trust me, I don't have that many friends to lie on Google for me for 5 stars." You know what I mean? So it keeps us accountable too. I mean, and it's so funny because we also have realized over the years. I've been doing this, a pretty long time. It's not, it's the last 2% of the job, leaving some silicone undone where you'd run out, or a mirror plate off the wall. It sometimes that'll screw. I've gotten bitten in the ass for, I forgot a mirror plate one time, and I ran short of it. Actually, it was damaged, and I didn't even want to put it on. I said it was like cracked, and I forgot about it. And next thing a month goes by, and I'm like, 2-star review. Who do I got to go kill? Hold on. And then it said, oh, they did everything. Excellent job of communication, everything else, but they didn't finish the product. They didn't finish. And it was like a 40-foot wall of glass in a studio. And because I left one friggin' mirror plate off, I got a 3-star review. So, I went there and on a Sunday and friggin' did it, as long as, they changed that shit to 5-star, like 5. But yeah, and the other thing is, man, I don't want to take up like hog the whole call
No, this
here,
is
but
great, man.
Fine,
no,
you better
no, but
talk. So enough
yeah,
for
I know,
all
I know.
calls.
Definitely
Making up for
make it up.
lost time here.
Yeah, I know. I'm like a damn schoolgirl at church or whatever. No, but
You're the
like we seen what works, we see what doesn't, we see what agitates the clients and what doesn't, and over the years, and it's been years of doing it and figuring out what works and just putting it together. But we're not like even after like the money, we're kind of after the glory and the image, just so we can step in and name our price. You know what I mean? We're like, we don't, I do everything. I don't know. I pretty much quote everything by just square foot and include everything. I don't really even, I have the luxury of not having to break it down like that for the clients.
Right.
I developed a little formula where it's like, XX, square foot for, the 4 main finishes. And if you're getting into something crazy, like, 14 karat gold plated or I'm sorry, 18 karat gold plated. I think CRL still has that crap, or like polished nickel. We just throw an extra, $5 or $10 a square foot on the whole thing, and it just works for us. It just works for us. And
Yeah.
I have another joke that I love too, is like when we got some of our clients, they're like I'm just going to throw numbers out there. It's like, let's say the job's 10 grand, and they come back either usually on the phone or in person, and they'll say, well, can you do any better? And I say, yeah, okay, 15,000.
Right.
I mean, I could make this shit 30,000. How
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't
yeah, totally.
specify better for you or better for me.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So they're like, I mean, that's the kind of clients we're blessed to have. And I mean, and then I hate the jobs where we bid them, and I'm sure we've all done this at some point, all of us, everybody on this call, where we bid a job and we're like, okay, 30 grand, whatever. And they're like, before you even get the words out, they're like, okay, when can you come? And you're like, damn it, they just answered that so fast. Why didn't I say like 40 then?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly,
But
man.
it's a fun time, man. It's a fun time, but we also realize, I mean, the team that I have, they know that, they don't work, for me. They work with us. We just, they like to be part of something decent. And it's just a really fun time down here in the dirty South, man. We're having a good time. And we caught the eye of a lot of crazies, man. I'll tell you, everybody's like, oh my God, we did that switchable glass. We got called from a contractor. I don't know if you've seen a video to do all that switch, that retro of that switchable glass. Did you see that, Chris?
Yep, I did.
Yeah, man. They call us up and I'm like, they go, yeah, okay, we have all this 1/4 inch tempered glass that we need to have removed. A client that we just referred, or was referred. And they're like, yeah, we ordered all the glass. I don't even know which it was all laminated, switchable glass. I don't
Right.
even know a company. And they're like, listen, because of reputation is what I'm saying for all of us. That's why it's important to keep our reputation. They're like, yeah, we need you to come up here and and just pull out the glass and replace it. It's all sitting here in cases and everything else. And I'm like, where are you guys at? And they're like, Wisconsin. And I'm like, what the hell, really? So I said to the guys, how much you guys ever make each in a week? Because they offered us an astronomical
Wow.
amount of money. I couldn't even believe it. I mean, I just like closed the shop, took my Chihuahua and gave him to the sitters. And I gave each of my guys like $5,000. I mean, we drove up there 20 hours back, spent a day and a half doing it. And I gave each of my guys like $5,000 for that. They were like, hell yeah.
When
But
can we
it's
do it
all
again,
because
huh?
no, yeah, they said let's do that once a week.
Yeah.
But it was like the company said, they said, listen, we see you all over LinkedIn, you refer, blah blah blah, and we want you to just do it because that shit is expensive and it takes lead times to even get that shit's ridiculous. I mean that stuff costs like I was talking to Sean from Dixie Glass yesterday, and I mean the shit costs us damn near $120, 119, $115 a square foot to get. It's crazy. And you got to make your money on it. And of course, if I would have broke one of those pieces, there it is, and then the inconvenience for the client.
Yep.
But it's all about image, you guys are hitting on a very strong subject tonight for not only me,
Mhm.
because that resonates, but that's very important, in this industry is, your relationship with your clients, how you build it, and then make them feel obligated to call you back, and just keep using you no matter what your price point is. So
Yeah.
that's what I got. But
Yeah, absolutely. And like you're someone who is killing it as far as branding goes. And like I mean I see you post like a lot. I don't know how you post as much as you do. And your posts are
yeah,
like
it's like how
super
do I
clean
post?
and yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
it's so crazy, man. I used to pay IT guys to sit in here and just which I'm still at my office in South Florida doing proposals and estimates. But I tried the IT guys and everything else, and I peeked over their shoulder and shit. And with the apps that they have today, I mean, especially within even the Instagram and Facebook, and as long as you take your time with it, and of course when you're filming, how to edit it and cut it and everything else, and I mean TikTok has a fantastic little transitions that you could do, or it's hit or miss, but man, for you literally for free, for nothing, as long as you get to know the apps. That's basically what I'm doing. This is not no bunch of AI crap. And I've had guys where I
Mhm.
paid them in here and I come in my office and it smells like weed and alcohol. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Are you guys, I'm paying you to format my shit, and you guys are sitting here with your feet on my desk smoking weed. I mean, what the hell are y'all doing? But I
Really
just
getting
figured
the
if, and
work
you know
done.
what? Well, if how many times have you said to yourself, Chris, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself because that's what you want. And any IT guy, and Robert, you know this, the cost of a professional, semi-professional, is that could be 100,000 a year. You know what I mean? So, spending money on something that you could not even really want to accept as your vision. So yeah, Chris, to answer your question, I literally it's I would say 90% of my stuff is done through the standard apps of either Facebook, Instagram, CapCut. stuff like that.
Are you
So
the
it's
one?
work.
Are you the one doing all that?
Yeah, I'm the one sitting up. Literally, I'm the one sitting up at 3 o'clock in the morning with my eyeballs with a friggin' pot of coffee, always doing the shit. And I've got it where I can pretty much also on the way to jobs and stuff. I have my guys drive me around and stuff. And yeah, I've learned where I can pretty much get it. All those videos that you're saying, I could put those together in less than 5 minutes with music.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by glassgadget.com. Showcase Innovations creates tools that help shower door installers be more efficient and save time. Check out glassgadget.com for more information. Dude, you're doing a great job. You got a real eye for it. You got a real
Thank
talent
you.
for it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, because yeah, dude, your stuff stands out. I mean, I always when I'm scrolling through and I see you post something, I stop to check it out. You
Yeah,
guys aren't like
one time, I don't know whether it was Keith or his dad. I don't know. They made a comment. They go, "Well, if you ever get out of glass business, you could definitely get a job in digital market or whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I can't make the money I'm making in glass being
that's for sure. And it's different when you're doing your own stuff too. I mean, it's
yeah, man, it's like personal. I know it's all kind of all over the map. I try to, I mean, I love hip hop music. I mean, that's really what I love, but I love rock and roll, obviously, but I'm all over the map with, digital music and stuff. But I try to keep the profanity out of it, in the songs and
uh,
stuff. You know what I mean? Because
for you.
it just shows lack of professionalism
I
when you
think
got
so
Lil Wayne,
too. Yeah.
you got Lil Wayne saying things that he says, whatever. But yeah, it's fun, man. And now it's like, I mean, with all the tools that we have, with the internet and all the platforms, and sometimes you may have to, pay a little extra money for a boost, or, I mean, we all love to see our name and our work out there. I mean, we all get excited when we see you talk about branding, but we just got a whole pack of Bic lighters made with our company logo on it, just for our clients and the guys that smoke for us. Just branding, 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 and it just works for us, man. And that's what the key point is like, listen, we all know McDonald's is not good for us, but you see that freaking golden arch on every corner.
Yeah.
And, we were all guilty of eating it at some point, but branding is everything. Like, etch it, brainwash everybody. You know what I mean? Use us, use us, use us. But, it's fun. It's a really good time. I wouldn't trade it. Every other day I say, I'm selling it. I'm out of here. I'm going to the country. I want a donkey and an emu to take care of. That's all. But it just keeps me here. You know what I mean? The clientele and the contracts keeps us down here, and we love it.
Nice. Yeah, I know, man. It is. It's a great industry. It is a lot of fun. You're right. I mean, you're nailing it. It's like I've always really enjoyed doing the work. I mean, it's a great work. Doing finished craftsmanship is a blast. I mean, I always tell like when customers would say to me, "Oh, you've got great reviews." My thing I would always say is like, "Oh yeah, we just picked the best customers."
Yeah, I like that.
It's like we pick the best customers. That's how we do that. We don't
Yeah,
take customers who aren't going to give us 5-star reviews. But but it's fun, and it's enjoyable. And when you get to that place where you set yourself up to where you can get the price that you want. I tell this to people all the time. There are so many people, friends of mine, in the industry who think that they have to like compete with other people on price and stuff like that. And I'm trying to talk them out of this mindset of like, don't think that way. You've got to stop thinking that way. You got to stop thinking small. You got to
absolutely.
think bigger. You got to think of yourself as being the best and being the best. And it's like, and it takes a while. Like, I mean, like what you do, it's something that you've developed over time. And even like
Yeah,
your
it took
branding,
years. It took years.
yeah, your branding and your posts and stuff is like you've got a voice, right? That you've found. And there's a little bit of humor to it. And there's a lot of like just class, like, first class, like that aspect. And it's a nice balance of all of that, of like, hey, this is top notch. We're producing an awesome product and we're having fun and it's like we're not taking ourselves too seriously. And
all that.
yeah, yeah, and that doesn't happen overnight. Trust me, I know because it's
Well,
taken
we also
a
we're
while.
hell bent on energy, man, and because
Yeah.
we all have the capability to bring in, like I always say, we all have the capability of bringing the best or worst out in any of us. Believe me, I mean, there's such a sense of entitlement. I won't even get in this country, but I found that I have the power, or a lot of people do, to even if we got the most, because our customers and clients, they were up on their friggin' high horses. They are way up there, and I'm like, listen, I don't give a shit if you're driving a Bentley or taking a bus. I'm all about the respect level, man, and the energy we put out there. We've been for years. I mean, it's unfortunate, in some places that there's, we have competition, but even if I find out whether I mean, I know pretty much all the glass companies in Broward and Palm Beach, a few in Miami Beach. But even if like that whole getting three prices shit, no, we're not even going to give a bid. We're not. This isn't. I'm not Monty Hall, and I'm not here to let's make a deal. You know
Right.
what I mean? And also, the main thing is, I mean, I'm 95% referral anyway. But we get the drips and drabs of people that want a piece of us or whatever, or us, and I don't know. But if we find out that there's, especially if there has been another company there just before us, we'll retract any bids. We, as a professional courtesy, like if I mean, I sit at the table with a lot of glass companies down here, and it's a small industry. I mean, look at us. You're on the
Yeah.
West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, and we're brothers in an
Yeah.
indirect way.
Yeah.
And I don't play that shit, man. I mean, oh well, this like once in a while, the client that I'm in, they will say, oh well, I got another price from. I go, whoa. Give me my card back. My cards are $5 a piece. The friggin', those aluminum cards, that you can't go on a
Yeah.
plane with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, give me my card back. And I go, just, you know what? Give give the other company, and I always ask, I go, what company is it? At least I'm not going to bid on it, whether I know the company or not. Now I'm retracting, nice meeting you, but at least I'll even extend that little tiny breadcrumb of courtesy. Tell me what company it is, and I'll let you know my opinion of them if you're in good hands for this project.
Nice.
Which I'm giving free consultation, and advice. So at least
Wow.
at some levels, we're still helping them. You
Dude,
know,
that's killer. That is a great take. I mean, it's like
yeah,
totally like it's 180 degrees, like in the opposite direction of what other people are moving. And that's how you set yourself apart, from
yeah, I'm blessed. But I mean, we've done this. And listen, I remember the days, Chris, though. It's funny, like, my daughter always says to me, we still get phone calls and we still get, oh, can you cut a piece of glass and can you
yeah,
cut a little piece of mirror? And, it's like I never forget like picking up the phone receiver and checking for a dial tone. Like I was like, okay, is this thing on? Back in the day. And I'm like, blessed to have these because ultimately this is what it has spiraled into from years of service, and then the energy you put. I'll never forget. I got one quick story. It was a little old lady. She was like 3 days older than baseball.
no,
She calls me up and she's like, I need a vanity mirror, a little one. It was like 20 inches by 24 inches. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll have one of my guys cut it. I'll, leave. Okay, I got to get a ride from my grandson. She was like 92 years old. God bless any woman's soul that's still fixing herself up at 92, that has the strength. And, again, we're all about the energy. And I'm not trying to sound goofy or corny, whether you guys believe it or not, but it's true for us. And this little old lady, man, it was a pain in the ass. She had to get a ride from her grandson. And I had a big appointment that day to meet a designer, and she was late, and it was just a pain in the ass dealing with this little 20-inch by 24-inch quarter-inch mirror. So she comes in, man, and she sits at my desk and she looks across between like Queen Elizabeth and Betty White, really manicured and all that shit. And she sits down and she goes, okay. And I had it, we still wrap the stuff and give it to her, whatever. And she goes, what do I owe you for it? She pulled out her little check. I go, no, you don't owe me nothing. Just go ahead. And she goes, what? I know everybody's got a minimum, whatever, $25, $3,500 cut, whatever. I said, no, to be honest with you, you're doing me a favor by getting that glass out of here. I throw a lot of bigger shit than that away. And she was like, "Oh, thank you so much." Right. So she waddled on out of here like a little penguin. It was cute. And then about, I don't know, 2 minutes later, my office, the way I was set up is like I'm kind of back off the showroom area. I hear I'm here by myself and I hear the bell ring and this dude walks in like a $5,000 Armani suit, looks like a mobster, right? And I'm reaching, I'm like at my desk drawer ready to, grab my 45. I'm like, what the hell? And he goes, "Are you Sean?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well," he goes, he sits down like he owns my building. And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" He goes, "There's only a couple things that I love in this world, and my money and my grandma." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "That was my grandma." He goes, "What you did was just admirable." I go, "What did I do?" And he goes, "You just gave her that piece of glass. You didn't try, you handled her, you were patient with her, everything else until." And he goes, "Here's my card." And he's like the third biggest developer. I mean, he builds houses like $50 million houses down here. And he's like, "I want you to do all my glass work for me." And so, you put it out there and you get shit back,
Yeah,
which without expectations, it was a blessing. So,
a
and again, I
blessing.
don't want to take up this whole call with me babbling on, but yeah, man, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of different little dynamics and little, spectrums and facets in a diamond that you have to put together. But once you got it, I mean, you guys are putting me on a pedestal, but this is what you get from doing the work, being able to do it, talk, and handle yourself professionally. And, don't be so reserved. And always go in, I'll leave it with this. Always go in there like you're doing them the favor, especially in this industry, has finally weeded out the shitty techs and craftsmen, everybody from, the good from the bad. And people in our area, I don't know about y'all's area, but people in our area are just tired of, the shabby workmanship, and they know that they have to pay for a premium product now, premium experience. They know that now, so it is what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, I started out, my dad was like a union glazer, right? And my
Mm,
older brother, too, and then and I tried to stay out of the glass industry for as long as I could, but then it was like, oh man, I needed to make some money, and they were making good money, man, back when I was like a teenager or whatever. So I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay, let me try this out. And I got in there, and then I realized that, oh man, I've got a knack for this. Go figure. It's like, that's why the other men in the family were doing it, is because it's just
Mm,
like, it was in our genes or something somehow.
yep, yep.
Did it for a while, and just, over the years, I watched how other trades come in and take the work. Like when I started out and commercial glass, we were doing everything. We were doing all the aluminum, like we were doing brass, we were doing all architectural metals, right?
Yeah,
Inlay. We were like, I did my apprenticeship in Las Vegas, and we were like inlaying brass and marble and stuff like that. I mean, we were doing everything start to finish.
yeah, outlandish custom, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. And over time, I saw how like other trades started coming in, like iron workers, started taking our aluminum. And then like
Hmm.
roofers started taking our skylights. And then the carpenters started taking our mirrors. And
Yeah, yeah.
it was just like, wow, man, there's not going to be anything left, of our industry for us to do. It's like, and I heard like, oh yeah, over in New York, it's like glazers just push vinyl. That's all they do, you know.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, man. And so I got out of the union and started working for myself. It's like, no, I'm going to do the work, that I want to do, and I'll take all the responsibility, and then work my way into the shower door segment, for this exact reason, because nobody wanted to do heavy glass showers that wasn't a glazer, right?
Yeah.
The roofers didn't want it, the carpenters didn't want it, the ironworkers didn't want it, they were afraid of it. So, it gave me the opportunity to do work, the kind of quality of work that I wanted to do, the kind of quality of work and craftsmanship that I love to do, and to position myself in a way to where I could ask what I deserved to get paid to do the kind of work that I wanted to do for people who appreciated
also at the same time honing your own skill. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
At the same time, you know?
Yeah. And just finding that niche, right? Just
Yeah, man.
describing, just like, okay, oh yeah, yeah, it's like I really don't like that. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Oh man, I really do like this. This is cool. And I don't know, there's probably not very many construction workers who like when they're done, people come in and go, wow, ooh, ah, whoa. Like, I mean, plumbers probably don't experience that,
Yeah,
but
I'm friends with Matt Day. I don't know if you know him from Glazer Nation. I'm sure you've
yeah,
probably heard of him.
yeah, yeah.
And I go out with him all the time, up on his boat and his shooting on his land and shit. He's a crazy redneck. And we developed a friendship over the years because we're both a bunch of, cowboys slash gangsters in this trade. And I sat at a table with him one time. I go, and he goes, well, you're an artisan and this and that. And he goes, but we're making millions and millions of dollars in Glazer Nation and all this other shit. I go, Matt, with all due respect, please don't take this wrong. I said, but you guys are getting prefabricated squares and blocks in frames with cranes, and the guys, and again, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm hoping I don't have a red dot on my head next week, but there's a big difference, and the Glazers, is, from where it evolved from the term to where it's at now. There's so many other facets in the word glazer now. And, running vinyl to me, and just, when you got five guys, hanging off the side of a friggin' 50-story high rise and
Mhm.
setting in a panel and bolting it in, I don't know how much skill that is. I mean, I don't want to put anybody down. Sorry if I am. But to me, I just, the custom, and I could remember shit years ago, man. I mean, I've been doing this for years, man. I started this business in like 90, I forget, 98, 97, somewhere around there. And even back then, Chris, the people were giving out like, mirrored walls, square foot price. Like they were giving out like for like $6 or $7 a square foot for mirror, because mirror was only like buck 25 a square foot. And then I'll tell you a couple stories. It's funny. Again, I'm so sorry to take up the whole call, but I would be out back, I'm talking 25 years ago, at $25 a square foot for installed quarter-inch mirror. And I'd pull up to, pick up my stock sheets at these distributors, and I heard them on the undertones. Oh, there's the pirate. There's this, there's that. I go, fucking pirate. It's not like I'm robbing people. So I pulled all these idiots together. It was like 5 or 6 trucks talking shit. And well, you get haters anyway. You know what I mean? Whatever, which I don't care, because that means I know I'm doing something right.
Right.
And I pulled all these idiots together while we were, that were talking shit about me. I go, first of all, I know what you all are charging. You're charging 6, 7. You think you're getting something at $10 a square foot, like you're getting something great. You're calling me a friggin' pirate. But here we are in Broward County, let's say, and in South Florida, I go in the client. I mean, I didn't have the clientele, at that point way back then. So, I was still adamant about what's my worth, what's my value of my labor worth, and my skill. So of course I'm in there, $20, $25 a square foot. And I told these idiots, I said, listen, I go, y'all are badgering me, which you're lucky I'm not pulling out a pipe and cracking you upside the head. But anyway, I said, but think about this. If I'm out there in all these homes that we're all bidding on, and I walk in at 25 and don't get the job, and why don't you come in at 18 or 20, and then let's slowly plant the seed in our area where this is what it's going for now, instead of half the price. And that took place, and now they're all my best friends. Are like, oh man, you started the high end. I go, whatever. And then, and they pissed me off so much before they took it, that they would run ads in like all the local flyers back in the day, and all local papers, of like an 8x8 mirrored wall, 248 100s with some bevels. And they would run ads like, $295 for 2 panels with a cutout and bevels. And just for spite, I ran an ad right next to them saying, we fix 8x8 mirror wall specials, just to play with them and kick them back. But it's creating a
Exactly.
value for what we do is the bottom line,
It's like first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what? I have a standing, I should get a tattoo, that my next tattoo should say it, that success is the best middle finger. I don't care what anybody says, you know? I mean, it really is. You get a lot of haters in this game and just in life in general. People are, jealous or envious of people's success, not even monetarial, just, whatever, just feeling good, going out with a good energy. People look at you like you're fucking crazy. Part of my language, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it is crazy, and it's funny. We've all seen those jobs, right? They post them on the page all the time of like just this super crappy, mirror job or this terrible handrail. It's just all jacked up and like
Yeah,
bunch of silicone joints or whatever, and it's like that's the kind of job you get when people are charging $7 a square foot because
exactly. You get what you pay
can't
for.
afford to do a great job at that price. When you're charging someone, people don't get this, and I have to say it over and over that you're not doing anybody a favor by charging them too little.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
harming people by doing that, and you need to
Well,
get.
think how do you feel when you go in a job and your value has been cut because some customer's trying to, chew you down or whatever? I mean, you want to go in that job feeling cartwheeling, going, wow, we're all fair. We're making money. I'm paying my this, gas, this, that, materials, my guys. You want to go in a job feeling good, not, damn,
Yeah,
I gave that job away. And now it just the whole, there we go back to the energy, and that resonates to everybody, your colleagues, your workers, your office, and just whatever. So yeah, you want to go in knowing that you got your worth, sometime hopefully more, I mean, I mean, a lot of times I'll price shit on customers' attitudes. If you're an idiot, oh, you're paying, oh yeah, you're paying double. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's whatever, man. And we're blessed. By no means, listen, I really am humble. I am so like I'm filled with gratitude that God has given me the power and the skill
yes,
to be
sir.
able to measure and manipulate it and get it in and cut it out crazy shit. I go to houses probably 3 times a week where clients just got back from like, Europe or Germany or wherever, and they see this crazy shit, which, they have it over there. And I've never done it. And I'm like, they're like, okay, they show me, they pull it up on Pinterest or they pull it up on their photos on their phone. We want this glass and this and that. Can you do it? And even if I've never done it, I'm like, sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we got you.
Yep,
And then we figure it out.
I love that. I
And
love
then what comes with that is a price point that if they can't get it, like you've seen that art glass that I get, that's all from a company called Siccius Glass out of Italy.
All right.
And yeah, those sheets I'm talking about, you've probably seen them,
Yeah.
right? Those laminated art sheets. And
Yep.
those sheets cost me. And I'm not trying to tell you, what, but those sheets, by the time I get, a sheet or two of those shipped in, those sheets cost me $5,000 a piece.
I believe it.
They cost me 5,000, another $2,800 to get them here from Europe. So you got to be real, careful. And if you're where I'm going with it is, if you're the only glass company in the area that can produce that, where's your price at? It's like whatever you want it to be. Like we charge a lot for those, you know what I mean? Because you're not going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and be able to, find a comparison, or another glass company. So
Right.
just keep that in mind. Everybody's listening. That
Yeah.
try to do shit, outside of, I know, we stick to what we want, but just instead of thinking outside the box, just get your head into it where there is absolutely no box, you know, and
We're
just say,
fucked.
what box? It's like, well, this company thinks outside the box, and you go in there and you say, well, what box are you all talking about? We don't have a box. And they're like, oh, these guys are out either crazy or just they got it going on. But it's a
Would you
fun
like a
trade. Don't let
box?
It's a fun trade. Don't get it mixed, and it's stressful. And there's a lot of different things, in it that we get stressed with our guys and ourselves and our own minds and the clients. But it's definitely a lot better than shoveling shit somewhere on somebody's farm.
Yep. I believe that's true.
Yeah, I can't believe I got the whole call.
I
Sorry
think
about that.
awesome, man. I'm
Sorry,
glad you showed up.
sorry to hog it all up, man.
That's great, man. As it should be.
And I want to let you all, everybody here on Shower Doors Pro, Chris, you all, everybody. This is not a this is not a competition. I want every single person that is in the glass trade to succeed. Everybody. And if anybody needs anything, that you see that I do, or figure, anything. If you need to know where I get the glass, how do I do it, what kind of malarkey I feed my customers to get this shit, whatever you need, I'm all over. You guys can reach out to me, and that goes for every single person that's in this trade.
Yep.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, dog? How you doing?
Just another Wednesday.
Noble in the house. Yeah, man. Love your work too, brother.
We're trying. We're trying.
It's okay. It's out there.
Yeah, man, it's like all my friends, man, it's like they're awesome, just the best, man, the best in the industry, all across this country, and all have, the same attitude that you're expressing. Like all my friends do. I don't know if everybody in the industry, but all my friends do, are just grateful, consider themselves blessed, thankful, and just loving life, loving what they're doing, that's just the kind of the standard thing, and there are a lot of people like just in the industry killing it, just like you're describing. And we can really all do that. We really can all do that. It's just, making up your mind that that's what you want to do, and realizing that you're worth it and your customers are worth it. When you start to see people, the people that you serve as being valuable, you'll start to raise your prices. It sounds like counterintuitive, but it's not at all. It's like they deserve the best, and everybody's not your customer, right? I mean, there are some glass shops out there who can't really do much other than just a putty hack, job or whatever, or a framed, shower manufactured thing. And there are customers made just for those guys. But then there are customers who need, someone who can really do a great job, and they're willing to pay for it. And I think, the people in this group, that's us. We provide that kind of service, So thanks for sharing, man. I'm really glad you showed up tonight. It couldn't have been a better topic for you to show up and share your experience, man.
Well, I definitely made up for the past 4 years of not saying shit on this call. I can tell you that.
Hey, I'm broke.
Yeah, I'm broken too. I need to go to bed, but love all of you guys. And thank you, Chris, I'm going to take a second to, I've seen your group grow and it's fantastic. I think when I popped on, you had like, I don't know, 15, 1,800 members, and now you're what, at 5 or 6, I don't even know, you're up there. And it's just, but it's tight, and it's everybody on there is, showing with their skill and asking for help, and what, you guys have done, with the co-op with Christina. She's a little spark plug. She's a gem.
Well,
And the Dobmans, I mean, they're, Keith and I, we're pals, and we chat on a private level. But we're all in it together, man. It's like, again, I just want to leave it like, even though some glass shops are only doing anything, bottom line is you're grabbing glass. Just try to, stay a little late, come a little early, and just play with some glass. And it's only measurements and resources, and that's really all it is. And putting a little bit of energy into it, and just broadening your horizons and your knowledge of, it's just glass. It's flat glass. I mean, besides the bent and curved shit, whatever we do once in a while. But why not just offer as much services as you can possibly? I mean, I'll hang somebody's ceiling fan if you pay me money while I'm in your house. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
sure.
But I want you all to have a great evening, man. Thanks for letting me, yap on like a crazy person. Love you all. Like, seriously.
Thanks, Tom. We love you, man. We'll see you on the next one.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for showing up. We'll see you again next Wednesday.